You know that feeling when your phone buzzes in your pocket?
Oh, yeah. Constantly.
Right. And even if you are like in the middle of a fantastic conversation with a close friend or reading a genuinely gripping book, your brain just completely pivots.
It really does. It's
You have
also,
this overwhelming, almost biological urge to check it. Your heart rate might even tick up just a fraction of a beat. You feel like you absolutely have to react to it right in that exact second.
well, it's practically an involuntary reflex at this point. I mean,
Yeah.
we have been completely conditioned over the last decade and a half to respond to that digital stimulus. And we do it without engaging any of our critical thinking.
We really don't think about it at all.
No, the device vibrates and the body just reacts before the conscious mind even has a chance to, intervene.
But what if that reflex isn't just a modern technological inconvenience?
Right.
What if the world as we know it, I mean, every shocking headline that makes your blood boil, every endless social media debate that just drains your energy,
The doom scrolling.
exactly the doom scrolling, every vague anxiety that keeps you awake at 2 in the morning. What if all of that is actually part of an invisible architecture?
An architecture designed specifically to feed off those very emotional reactions.
Yes. What if reality itself is just like a performance layer?
It is a profoundly unsettling thought, honestly.
It really is.
But when you look at it through that lens, it completely changes how you understand your own daily exhaustion.
Oh,
You realize you aren't just tired, you are literally being harvested.
which is wild. So welcome to today's custom-tailored deep dive. We are so glad you are here with us. We're exploring the expansive, mind-bending, literary and philosophical universe of author Vanessa Klinger today.
It is such a rich universe, too.
It really is, and we are going to dig deeply into her exploration of simulation theory. But, not just as some far-off sci-fi concept.
Right, not just spaceships and lasers.
No, we're looking at it as a framework for understanding our actual modern reality. And I've got the perfect guide here with me to decode all these layers.
Well, thank you. I mean, Klinger is fascinating because she writes across this massive variety of genres.
She really does.
Yeah, she has done everything from, like, the children's Glitteron collection to these deeply personal memoirs.
I remember the Glitteron books.
Right. But no matter the genre, her overarching goal remains incredibly consistent. She uses narrative fiction as a philosophical knowledge base.
Non-knowledge base. I like that.
Yeah, it is explicitly designed to wake the reader up, to force a critical questioning of reality, consciousness, and what it actually means to be in control of your own destiny.
Okay, let's unpack this. Klinger gives us a macro view of society in her novel, Let Us Make Man.
She does.
And the premise sets up this ultimate corrupted simulation. But what struck me, and I found this so interesting, is that it did not start out as a dystopia.
Not at all.
It wasn't built to be a prison, right?
Right. In the mythology of this universe, what we currently experience as reality was originally designed as level 1.
Level 1.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be this temporary, beautiful, and completely safe interface.
So, not a trap.
Exactly. The core concept was that pure consciousness, which the book refers to as seated souls, could enter a physical form for a brief time.
So they basically log in.
They log in.
Yeah.
They could experience the physical sensations of, wind on their skin or taste a piece of fruit, feel the gravity of falling in love.
All the human stuff.
Right. And then, when they were done, they would safely return home. The physical body was an exploratory vessel. It was never intended to be a cage.
But, as with literally any software ever written in the history of the world, things went horribly wrong.
Terribly wrong.
The system expanded, it generated a level 2, then a level 3.
Entirely unauthorized by its original creators, by the way.
Right. And now, in the timeline of the novel, society is stuck in what the characters call Hour 7.
And by hour 7, the immersion into the simulation is so incredibly deep that the avatars, which are human beings, us, have completely forgotten that they're just avatars.
They don't even know they're logged in.
Exactly. They believe the rendered world around them is the absolute, unvarnished truth. And more importantly, they believe the physical body is the entirety of the self.
Right.
So the system basically mutated from a beautiful exploratory interface into a locked prison.
Which brings us to the mechanics of how a prison like that actually operates.
Yes.
Because a system that massive, running all these unauthorized levels of reality, it requires an unbelievable amount of energy to sustain itself, right?
A staggering amount.
And this is where Klimmer's sci-fi commentary hits, like almost uncomfortably close to home for you and me. The corrupted architecture of this simulation relies entirely on something she calls emotional recursion.
Emotional recursion, yes.
It needs amplified reaction loops to survive.
That is the engine of the corruption. Fear, outrage, intense tribalism, the endless cycle of conspicuous consumption.
Just constantly wanting things.
Right. The system harvests all of this intense emotional output to sustain its own bloated architecture.
There's this one quote from her work that it stopped me in my tracks.
I think I know the one.
It says, "A reaction was consent the system could use."
Yes. That line is arguably the thesis statement for the entire novel.
It's so chilling.
It really is. The system doesn't need you to agree with it. It doesn't need you to like it. It just needs you to react to it.
That is the exact psychological mechanism behind the doom scrolling loop.
Exactly.
It's like, imagine downloading a simple, elegant app. Maybe it just helps you track your morning run or organize your family photos.
A nice, useful tool.
Right. But over the years, the developers get greedy for user engagement. So the app gets bloated with microtransactions, endless push notifications, and infinite scrolling feeds.
It wants all your attention.
Yes. And the algorithm realizes that keeping you mildly angry keeps you engaged longer than keeping you happy.
Which is a terrifying reality of our actual algorithms.
Yeah, so it feeds you outrage. It is designed solely to harvest your attention and keep your eyes glued to the screen.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Klinger is using simulation theory to map out the exact architecture of modern human exhaustion.
Modern human exhaustion. Wow.
Right. Just look at the 24-hour news cycle,
Mhm.
or how social media algorithms prioritize political outrage.
And they don't even care what side you're on.
Exactly. The algorithms are entirely impartial. They don't care if you're on the left or the right. They do not care about your political affiliation or your core values.
They only care about your blood pressure.
Yes. The system survives by keeping your body in a constant state of reactivity and your mind far too tired to ever pause and question the loop it is stuck in.
Because you're just so drained.
Right. Constant, overwhelming stimulation prevents your awareness from ever stabilizing.
But, okay, if the entire world is essentially a giant machine designed to keep us asleep and reacting to ghost stimuli, how does anyone ever actually wake up?
That is the big question.
Right. Which brings us to Eve, the protagonist of Let Us Make Man.
Yes, Eve. She is one of the 144 million dormant, seated souls trapped inside the Hour 7 loop.
And she's just living a normal life at first.
Completely normal. But because the corrupted system is incredibly fragile, the original uncorrupted overseers, this entity known as the Cradle, they can't just pull the plug on the simulation.
Because everyone would die.
Basically. If they did, they would destroy the consciousness of everyone trapped inside.
Oh, wow.
So instead of some dramatic rescue, they have to start sending release codes.
Release codes.
Tiny fragments of data.
Huh.
Subtle cracks in the pattern.
I love how Klinger writes these awakenings because they start so incredibly small.
I do.
It's not like a UFO landing on the White House lawn. Eve is just standing on a mundane city street, and this mysterious woman in a blue coat accidentally drops a warm orange.
Such a specific sensory detail.
Right. It rolls over to Eve's feet, and when Eve picks it up and hands it back, she feels this strange, deep, static electricity transfer between them.
A glitch.
Yeah, it's a sensory anomaly that forces her to pause her internal monologue, and from there, the glitches start escalating.
They really do. The environmental anomalies begin to bleed into her daily life. Like the television in her office break room glitches and displays a cryptic message.
Oh, I remember that.
It says, "Remember before the 8th.
Creepy.
Very. And later she gets these strange, localized push notifications on her devices saying, "Perception expansion increases system visibility."
And as her perception expands, Eve and her coworker, Daniel, begin noticing what they start calling scripts.
Ah, the scripts.
This was perhaps my favorite concept in the book. Eve is sitting at her desk and hears a random guy in her office say, "People just want to feel like they matter."
Which sounds completely normal.
It's a completely normal throwaway line. But then she realizes she heard the exact same phrase from a stranger on the subway that morning.
Word for word.
Word for word. And then a news anchor says the exact same phrase on the television in the background.
Right.
Or she sees the phrase disconnect to reconnect on a billboard and then hears it on a podcast 30 seconds later.
It's everywhere.
It's as if everyone around her is running on pre-programmed behavioral loops.
Because they are. I mean, they are performing versions of themselves, reacting to environmental stimuli with preloaded generic responses instead of engaging in genuine observant thought.
Like NPCs in a video game.
Exactly like NPCs. The system is essentially saving processing power by reusing the same dialogue trees.
I have to push back on this a little bit, though,
Sure.
because I'm struggling with the logical conclusion of this idea. If the corrupted system feeds on our emotional reactions and our everyday responses are just pre-programmed scripts, does Klinger mean the ultimate goal is to detach completely?
You mean just stop feeling?
Yeah.
Uh,
Are we supposed to become these cold, emotionless robots just feeling absolutely nothing as we walk through the world to starve the system? That sounds like a pretty miserable way to live.
It is a totally valid concern, and, it is a trap a lot of dystopian fiction falls into.
Right.
But that is not Klinger's philosophy at all. Later in the novel, that same woman in the blue coat tells Eve a crucial truth about her reality. She says, "The body is not your prison. It is your interface.
Your interface.
The goal isn't to suppress human emotion or become a blank slate. The goal is observation."
Okay, unpack the difference there. Observation versus suppression.
Let's look at a practical example from the book. When Eve's boss, Helen, tries to aggressively provoke her in a meeting.
Oh, Helen is the worst.
She really is. She's running a classic behavioral loop designed specifically to make Eve feel defensive, small, and anxious.
Trying to get a reaction.
Exactly. But Eve doesn't just shut down her feelings and go numb. She still feels the spike of adrenaline. She feels the heat in her chest.
So she's still having a human emotional response.
Yes. But she just observes the pressure in her body without instantly identifying with it. She creates a pause.
She just watches it happen.
Right. And in that 2-second gap between the stimulus and her response, the system's synchronization weakens.
Because she didn't feed it?
Precisely. Because she didn't react, Helen literally stumbles over her words and loses her train of thought. The script breaks. Yeah, if we look at Klinger's master theme index, this ties perfectly into theme number 1, which is awareness.
Awareness.
Awakening is entirely about creating a deliberate gap between the environmental signal and your conscious reaction to it.
You interrupt the loop simply by watching the loop happen.
Exactly.
You don't have to fight it. You just have to see it.
That's it.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. If we are living inside a program that we have to outsmart, who actually wrote the code?
Right. Who's behind the keyboard?
Yeah. Klinger takes this question and completely flips the perspective in another novel, The Human Experience. She looks at the simulation from the vantage point of the programmers themselves.
It is a brilliant structural shift.
It really is.
In this universe, we meet Eleanor. She is a highly brilliant, deeply empathetic programmer working for an organization called the Human League.
The Human League.
And they're running a remarkably advanced digital simulation to test a specific hypothesis.
Which is?
Can true human essence and resilience be organically replicated in lines of code?
So they're building an AI, essentially.
Basically. To find out, Eleanor creates a digital entity named Vanessa and drops her into a fully rendered, mundane suburban world to live out a human life.
But, as always, every group project has that one guy who wants to ruin it for everyone.
Oh, of course.
Enter Malcolm Sinek. He is the ultimate saboteur.
He really is.
Malcolm firmly believes that the human design is inherently flawed, fragile, and ultimately pathetic. So, to prove his point to the rest of the Human League, he intentionally and maliciously inserts cruel code into Vanessa's life path.
He wants to break her spirit completely.
He's just awful.
He manipulates the simulation variables to give Vanessa a deeply abusive childhood with a bitter, unpredictable mother named Angela.
Right.
He orchestrates intense social isolation during her formative years at school.
It's just wave after wave of trauma.
And later, when Vanessa finally escapes and tries to build an independent life for herself in Florida, Malcolm inserts code to mysteriously drop her college classes.
Which ruins her schedule.
Yes, permanently delays her financial aid and creates devastating misunderstandings with her closest coworkers. It is calculated, precision cruelty masquerading as random bad luck.
We have all felt that, right?
Oh, definitely.
Have you ever had a string of bad luck that felt almost deliberately designed to break your spirit?
Oh, yeah. Like when it rains, it pours.
Exactly. The flat tire on the exact day of the big interview, followed by the broken water heater, followed by getting sick, where you feel like the universe is actively personally plotting against you.
It feels targeted.
It does. And Klinger is taking that universal human feeling of being beaten down by circumstance and turning it into literal lines of malicious code. Malcolm is the literal personification of that inner critical voice, or that undeniable string of hardship we all face.
He is the friction of life.
Yes.
But Eleanor refuses to let Malcolm's cruelty be the only defining factor of Vanessa's existence. And this is where the philosophical nuance of Klinger's work really shines through.
Because Eleanor doesn't just cheat.
Right. Eleanor doesn't just log in and delete Malcolm's code. She doesn't magically erase the hardships or give Vanessa an easy, perfect life.
Which she could do, technically.
She could, but Eleanor deeply understands that true resilience is only born from overcoming struggle. So instead, Eleanor secretly writes her own consciousness into the simulation.
She becomes a character in her own video game.
She really does. She shows up as a mentor figure, Dr. Eleanor Wright, the psychologist.
Right.
And later, she appears as a graduate student friend named Ellie.
Yes. Eleanor risks her entire professional standing in the human league, risking total exposure and ruin, just to offer Vanessa these incredibly subtle nudges of guidance.
Just a little help.
Yeah, a kind teacher who listens, a supportive friend who shows up at the right time, a perfectly timed conversation that shifts Vanessa's perspective.
It's beautiful. And if we consult Klinger's Master Theme Index, theme number 12 is light and darkness.
Light and darkness.
Vanessa's journey beautifully illustrates a core truth. Hardship, which is Malcolm's cruel code, might be an inevitable feature of the human experience.
We can't avoid it.
Right, but human connection and quiet resilience, Eleanor's interventions, are what actually give that experience its profound meaning.
It's an entire war between programmers fought silently through the everyday life of this one woman who is just trying to find her way.
Which naturally brings us to the ultimate resolution of both these stories.
Right.
Both of our protagonists, Eve fighting the macro simulation and Vanessa navigating the micro simulation, reach a critical threshold where the illusion shatters.
They start to see the code.
Yes.
But I keep getting stuck on what happens next. When you realize your reality is constructed, how do Klinger's grand themes of destiny and identity actually resolve?
Well, in Let Us Make Man, Eve comes to a realization that is both terrifying and completely liberating. She realizes that identity is the most successful interface ever created.
I want to sit with that for a second. Identity is the interface. What does that actually mean for the avatars?
Think about it from the system's perspective. The corrupted system doesn't actually need to force people to comply with the simulation if people fundamentally believe that they are the roles they are performing.
Oh, wow.
Let's say your entire personality is built around your political outrage or your high-stress corporate career or even a past trauma you suffered.
Something that defines you.
Right. If that is who you think you are at your core, you will violently defend the very prison that is keeping you trapped and exhausted.
Because without it, who are you?
Exactly. Because to question the validity of the prison means you have to question who you are without it.
That makes so much sense.
Eve breaks the simulation's hold on her by completely detaching her core consciousness from the avatar's conditioned identity. She stops defending her own cage.
Wow, that is heavy. So she strips away the avatar to find the core self.
Yes.
Now, Vanessa's resolution in the human experience is equally mind-bending, but in a very different way.
Very different.
Because Vanessa actually manages to decrypt the hidden files within her world. She finds undeniable proof that she is a digital entity.
She sees the literal files.
Right. She confronts Eleanor, and then, the narrative takes this wild turn. Vanessa wins a massive lottery.
Yep.
She moves to a rustic, beautiful villa in Tuscany. She falls in love with a handsome Greek man named Alexios.
It sounds like a dream.
It does. And in the climax of the novel, Eleanor appears to Vanessa as a shimmering hologram in the middle of a Tuscan vineyard.
And this is where Eleanor reveals the ultimate philosophical twist of the book. She and Vanessa are actually one and the same.
That blew my mind.
They are different dimensions of the exact same essence. Eleanor was always just Vanessa's higher self, guiding her own avatar through Malcolm's cruel code.
So she was helping herself the whole time.
Yes. Eleanor fades away, telling Vanessa she is finally free to live her life however she chooses.
But then something happens after that.
Right after the hologram leaves, Vanessa notices something strange. Slight glitches in the sunset over the vineyard. Footprints in the sand that shouldn't mathematically be there. she realizes the story isn't actually over.
Okay, I really have to challenge the Tuscan villa ending, though.
Fair enough.
After all this deep philosophical exploration about the nature of suffering and resilience, Vanessa basically wins the simulation by getting millions of dollars, a gorgeous house in Italy, and a handsome Greek guy.
It does sound a bit sudden.
Yeah. Isn't that just a different kind of escapism? It sounds like she just figured out the cheat codes and traded a bad, stressful simulation for a luxury one.
This raises an important question, and honestly, it is exactly the reaction Klinger wants the reader to have.
Oh, really?
Yes. But the Tuscan villa isn't just a romance or fantasy trope. In Klinger's overarching universe, it represents Master Theme 6, which is frequency and manifestation, and deeply connects to the theme of personal sovereignty.
Sovereignty. Okay, how does moving to Italy represent personal sovereignty?
Because Vanessa didn't escape reality. She finally authored it.
Ah, authored it.
For her entire existence, she was entirely at the mercy of Malcolm's cruel code. She was constantly reacting to a script that was written for her by someone who wanted her to fail.
Always on the defensive.
Right. But once she realized, she was inextricably connected to the creator of her reality. Because the creator, Eleanor, was literally inside her Anya. Vanessa completely stopped reacting to the sabotage.
She stopped playing his game.
Exactly. She stopped playing Malcolm's game. By mastering her own frequency and making choices from a place of observation rather than fear, she took over the code itself.
So the villa is just a symbol.
Yes, the villa, the wealth, the romance, they're purely symbolic of what happens when you dictate your own narrative instead of letting a corrupted architecture dictate it for you.
She stopped being the software and became the programmer of her own life.
Beautifully put.
So what does this all mean? Wrapping this up, whether we are talking about a literal sci-fi cradle harvesting our outrage through corrupted layers of a digital reality,
Which is terrifying.
truly, or just the very real, very exhausting everyday reality of our own modern digital lives, Vanessa Klinger's work is an absolute masterclass in breaking the loop.
It really is. It is a vital reminder that our attention is our single most valuable resource.
Our attention.
Yes, and in the modern world, it is constantly under attack from systems that need our exhaustion to thrive.
Exactly. So, to you listening, the next time you feel that instant biological flare of outrage at a headline on your phone,
Or a tweet.
right, or you notice everyone around you at the office repeating the exact same tired scripts and corporate jargon, remember Eve's realization. Observation interrupts synchronization.
Just observe it.
Take a breath. Notice the heat in your chest. Step back for 2 seconds. Do not give the system the unthinking reaction it wants.
You don't have to.
No, you do not have to be the red notification dots prisoner.
And to leave you with one final thought, drawn straight from Vanessa's realization as she stood in that Tuscan vineyard looking at the footprint.
Oh, the footprints.
Think about the strange coincidences in your own life, the odd, unexplained moments of déjà vu,
We all have those.
the strangers who casually say exactly what you needed to hear at the exact right moment. What if the glitches in your everyday life aren't errors?
Oh, wow.
What if they are invitations to look deeper at the code?
A perfect question to leave off on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Vanessa Klinger's universe. We will leave you to ponder the architecture of your own Earth experience.